Local radio for the Merrimack Valley. 980 WCAP. Everybody gets it.
Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. The purpose of this show is to bring on a couple subject matter experts in the first two episodes, which will help you learn how to go from point A, B to C quicker without making all the trials and tribulations that most entrepreneurs and business owners make, because they've already been there and done that. Plus, they are also subject matter experts, so you can avail yourself of their services and learn from them during the interview and by following up. Today we have with us in our first segment is Phillip Hatfield, and he is a keynote speaker. He's also a motivational speaker that helps people overcome the adversity of obstacles and other barriers to open the doors of opportunity, creativity, and innovation. He is also a published author of a book called The Contagious Encouragement. Phillip, how you doing today?
Doing good. How are you, Ron?
Excellent. I'm sensing a little southern drawl.
Oh, so you can tell I'm not from Boston. Absolutely, I'm from the deep south.
Yep, down from Texas?
Absolutely. I'm sitting here this morning on a cool, crisp morning in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here. It's cool and crisp, too. I think it's about 29 degrees outside.
Oh, that's cold. That's not cool and crisp. You got cold, buddy.
Yeah, welcome to Boston. Now, I met you, not met you, but I met you several times previously, but I've seen you most recently in Boston earlier in November at the Habitude Warrior Conference, and I heard you speak, and it was phenomenal. And the, one or two sentence opening introduction that I gave pales in comparison to what you have to offer. So could you give the listeners a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Oh, absolutely, and thank you so much for that compliment. But my name is Phillip Hatfield, and long story short, I had the privilege of getting to meet Ziglar in 1993, and through a long course, got to become personal friends, and Zig was a personal mentor in both personally and professionally in my life, which was great in my personal life and in my business life. And then, lo and behold, about 9 years ago, November the 9th, 2008, I had a horrible accident and almost died 7 times in the first 10 days. And Ron literally had to go back and recreate myself because I was a corporate executive, but my trauma and my injury was so bad I couldn't get back in the corporate world right away. So I had to kind of reinvent and start becoming more of a business coach, which I still love business, but just a few changes in my life, just having to adapt a little bit.
Wow, and that's where you really are against the wall. You had no choice, and it just kind of like suddenly came upon you.
Yep, yeah. And you know what? That's what with life and in business. It always happens the same for all of us. And the good thing is with Ziglar, I learned about proper goal setting many years ago. And there are many steps in the goal setting process. But the one that we never look at when we're talking about our goals, with New Year's coming up, people will, they're going to talk about their New Year's resolution, and pretty well the resolution's over after January the 3rd. Because they made a resolution, they didn't really make a goal. But one thing that Zig always taught, there are special people in your life that you need to have when you make a goal. And also, you've got to plan for the obstacles, and you don't know what it may be. But when the obstacle came, Ron, my business was still able to perform while I was in the hospital for several months. So you never know what's going to happen in life or in business, but a little pre-preparation and surrounding yourself with the right people makes all the difference in the world.
I love it. And if you could just speak either a little louder or closer to the mic, I want to make sure people can hear you now and also in the clip that will be archived going forward. But I love what you just said, and it's so important. And Zig Ziglar is he's a master. Also, there is a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth Revisited, and he talks about the difference between having a job and having a business. And if your business requires you to be there every day to do the majority of the work or to oversee things, and you really don't have a business, you have a job. You had a business because you implemented forms of systems and automation. Am I correct?
Yes, absolutely. Systems, processes, and procedures. And there again, Ron, like I said earlier, you've got to surround yourself with the right kind of people as well. So it's an ongoing process, and it's something that you have to do daily. One thing, whenever I'll open a lot of my talks, I'll ask the question, and you've probably heard this too, it's if you keep doing what you always did, you keep getting what you always got, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the answer really is wrong, because if you keep doing what you always did, you're going to be so far behind, because technology changes every day. Business changes. You look at the way that our society is changing daily with the millennials are now in the marketplace. We have other youngers coming into the marketplace. But business changes faster today than ever before in our lives.
Absolutely. So you do have to keep up. I was just with the audience when we were there, and that's what everybody said. So the listeners here weren't privy to your presentation. But you're 100% right. Technology moves on, and if you don't make your products or services obsolete, somebody else will come along and do that for you. So you constantly have to innovate, and that's what it sounds like. You were way ahead of the curve, because you're going back to the mid-'90s and early 2000s. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much. I've been very blessed. And, my accident happened November the 9th, 2008, and here we are in 2017. And Ron, it's okay to reinvent ourselves. And for me, I had always reinvented myself professionally, always staying ahead of the curve. But then once I had the accident, it's like I had to totally sit back and then do a whole new goal setting. I actually hit an obstacle, really went past an obstacle to a barrier. And, Ron, a barrier is something that stops you in your tracks. An obstacle is something that you can get around. You can negotiate. You can get around the obstacle. You can get through that. But a barrier, when you come up with that, you just actually have to stop. And when you're stopped dead in your tracks, you have to look at your goals, and you may have to come up with a new goal. You may have to come up with a new way to achieve it. There's a new way to get around and move forward into that. And once you get to the goal, you'll find out you're able to go even further, because you're already halfway to your journey of that goal. But the good thing about barriers is they make us stop, make us think, make us look around and listen, and we have to reevaluate where we are. And is that goal that we set really where I want to go? Or have I changed? Are there more things that I want to do? Has my goal changed a little bit? And for me, I had that barrier, so my goal totally changed, because I had never, ever planned to be a speaker in my life. Zig had always said, join me on the platform. It's like, Zig, I am busy. I am successful in business. I am happy. I didn't want to be a speaker. But lo and behold, now that I've become a speaker, it's like, I absolutely love it, Ron. It is neat.
I love it too, and I do. I give presentations across the country. In fact, in a couple hours, as soon as this show is over, I'm hopping on a plane and flying out to Chicago for a 4-day event. I see everybody at the Ultimate Wealth Camp right now, which I would have been at if I didn't have this other event tomorrow morning. I didn't want to take a red eye out of Vegas tonight, because I just want to be present for the event. But I love it, giving the presentation and meeting people like you and others who are making a change, who are helping people achieve even greater success by sharing their stories. Let's pretend that we have 3 levels of people listening. We have somebody who's just getting started as an entrepreneur, or they've gotten started, maybe in the first 6 months, or they're thinking about it, and they're a couple of months away. Then we have somebody who's been an entrepreneur for 18 to 24 months. They're already having some success, but they're still hitting barriers in some of their goals. You know, they might not have the terminology correct. And then maybe somebody who's been in business 4 to 6 years, maybe 5 years, and they're doing good, but they know that they can do a whole lot better if they just tweak a few things. They're just not sure. Could you give each level some tips?
Absolutely. I've got one tip that fits every level. And if you think about this, you go back to the most successful people, whether they're athletes or whether they're business people. And I like it like what Bill Gates says. And here's what I'm just going to lay it right out. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a mentor. And that's once we get fairly successful, the business is going on, we feel like we have the answers, but yet we don't have someone there to speak truth in our lives. And that's what I love, too, about Michael Gerber. I've known Michael since about 1988. I met him in Kansas City when he first wrote the E-Myth back many years ago. But you've got to have people in your life that will tell you the truth, and you need a coach, and you need a mentor. Now, think about this. If Bill Gates, where he is today, says everybody needs a coach, don't you think you need a coach?
Absolutely.
And I think back to what Zig did to me. I always called it mentoring, but Zig he coached me, he mentored me. We would have laughing conversation, but there's times that he would sit there, look me dead in the eye, and say, Phillip, let's get honest now. Here's what you need to do. Here's where you are. Now, do you want to get over there? Here's what you need to do to get to that next level. And sometimes we need that honesty. So everybody, we all need a coach. It don't matter if you're if you're a radio host. It doesn't matter what you're doing. We all need coaches to help us get better, speak honesty and truth into our lives.
I love it. And that, too, is like what I try to do with this show. And this is a gift. I don't get paid to do this show. You, as a guest, you don't pay to come on the show, nor do you get paid to be on the show. So we're all giving back. But this, how I started the show, talking about how people who have already had some success are going to come on and talk to you so you can maybe skip some of those parallels. Those pitfalls, rather. So having a coach and a mentor is extreme, but having one who was in your field is even more important, and somebody who, you want to seek counsel, not advice. You want to talk to somebody who's actually done it. You don't want to talk to your broke brother-in-law, about finances. You don't want to talk to an overweight friend about exercising. You know what I mean? You don't want to, you know what I mean? Not that they're great people, but in those subject matters, it's not something that they truly live and breathe and have had success with in their lives, So I love what you're saying.
And I'll tell you what, there's two other tips that I'll give real quick. I know you got we're on a time frame here, but one thing is, guys, it no matter where you are in your business, if you're a novice, if you're just starting out, or if you're fairly successful, or you may be a CEO making multiple six-figure income a year. Number one, build your business to sell it. Build it where it's a business someone else is going to want to buy. Make it where it's an ATM machine, that it turns cash, it turns profitability. But the greatest thing you can do is build your business to sell it, then keep it. Because once you've got a business that is sellable, everybody wants it, but you don't want to sell it because it brings you in cash just on a revolving basis. So that's number one, build your business to sell it. Number two, and guys, if you're out there driving down the road, stop, make a mental note, put this down wherever you are, but I call it FTI. I don't know where I picked that up, but write down that acronym, FTI. And what that is called, it's failure to implement. Because a lot of times we know what we do. We have a goal, we'll have a plan, and we really want to do something, but we fail to implement it. We already have everything we need, but sometimes when we have that mentor and we have that coach, they're able to help push us forward. And that's one reason, Ron, I became a coach, a business coach and personal development coach, because that's what Zig did for me. And the cool thing is, Zig never charged me either, and I realized how blessed I was. But then I realized also that those things are someone who knew me, knew who I was, knew my goals. Sometimes I didn't say, Zig, this is what I want to do, but he knew where I was and what I wanted to achieve, but he could give me the advice that I needed to move forward. He could speak truth into my life. So FTI, failure to implement, build your business to sell it, and keep it. Because no one wants to buy a job. People want to buy a business that's turnkey, which means you take the key, you turn the door, you open it up, you walk in, and the business is running. It's functioning like a fine machine, like a Italian sports car. No one wants to buy a job. So if you decide to sell your business, number one, you got to have it built to sell. But golly, when you see how much money is coming in, it's like, wow, why do I want to sell this? This is bringing me in several $1,000s a month.
I love it, and that's true, and that's where we go back to. And just so you know, we have like another 10 minutes, and I want to let all the listeners know that this episode, as all episodes, will be archived both on the radio station, 980 WCAP's website. In a couple of days, I'll get the clip, and we'll put it up on the website. We'll also put it up on my websites, rcstechnologysolutions.com and rcsonlinesolutions.com, and all episodes are dated. So you can go back, listen to this episode as well as the last, year and a half worth of episodes. But going back to what we said earlier, Phil, about how you were able to have your business running, even though that you had, a horrific injuries and took you a year to recover. But that was a business that you could have sold because it can operate without you. And I definitely, depending on the level that the customer is when they get to me, that level of automation that you're talking about, having a system in place, automation, learn it, do it, delegate it, these are all fundamental things that business owners need to do. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about they need to really understand the difference between having a job and a business. And they need to create their business so it is in fact a business and not a job.
Right. And we look at our businesses, we as with Michael Gerber, that's what I loved with him when he first came out with E-Myth years ago, and he talked about it very simply, and it's very easy. Think about it. A lot of times you're in business, and your office is right there in your business, right? That's the wrong place to have your office. You need to have a little cubicle or somewhere you sit and work there at the business. But you know what? If you really have a business, you need to have a home office or somewhere away where you have an office so that once you walk into your business, you get to see it with clearer eyes. You get to see the service. You get to walk up. And one thing I do as a business coach and a consultant when I'm called to come in is I start looking about 2 miles around that business before I ever get there. What's it like? But I really zero in. When I start getting half a mile away from the business, I start looking at every business as I'm passing that business. And I'll come from the north. I'll come from the south. I'll come from the east and west. I'll circle the business. And as I get within a quarter of a mile of that business, I am learning the neighborhood pretty well. And I love it when I walk in and people don't know who I am, and the owner of the business doesn't tell people that I'm coming in to be a consultant. And you walk in the door just like you're a client or maybe you're a vendor. And you walk in the door and you get to see and experience the atmosphere of the business. You as an owner, if your office is in your business, you become so complacent and your eyes kind of scaled over that you don't really see a lot of the details in your business. So look at your business. Come at it from 4 or 5 different directions when you're coming into your business if you have a brick-and-mortar store. But there again, if you have a business that's an online business or just like Ron, you and I have a coaching business, so we work from home. I have a home office, and so I did have an office at the Ziglar Corporation, but Zig's made some changes. They downscaled. Zig passed away. Tom Ziglar, they moved the office over in Addison. So my office is at home. So I've got to look at my business from 4 or 5 different areas, really 6 or 8 areas, because I don't get to drive to my business. So really looking at it from different areas. And that's why everybody needs a mentor and everyone needs a coach.
So true, so true. That's amazing. Now, tell us about the book you've written, too. You're a published author.
Oh, yeah. My last book is called Contagious Encouragement, and I absolutely love it, Ron. And the reason I wrote the book is Zig Ziglar, he had a process that we used to do, and we had little pages that you fill out, and you would tell people what you like about them and why. And if you were there in the audience whenever I did my little talk there in Boston a few weeks ago, I had everybody find 3 people, tell them something you liked about them, and tell them what it is. In other words, I like you, Ron, because. There's something about the because when you tell people something you like about them that they begin to see who they are and are able to value themselves more as a person, and people can see other things about you, and you learn that. But What we do not do, Ron, is we do not encourage other people. We're always looking at the negative things of people. We always, especially our competition, and we want to scale them and put them down and build ourselves up. But the more we encourage others, the more it comes back to us. We think we're encouraging them, and our goal is to encourage them. But the more we encourage them and we see them, we are the ones who are actually encouraged. So that's why I wrote the book, Contagious Encouragement. I would love to see a revolution of the United States and the world, for that matter, where we start encouraging people instead of always looking at the negativity and what we don't like about each other and about each other's businesses.
Yeah, that's excellent. And imagine that. I mean, we're in kind of a unique situation on the planet right now. You know, I'm sure it's been like this for a long time, but it just seems to be more to the forefront. So imagine if we could just see the positive in everybody more so than what may or may not actually divide us, you know?
Yep, exactly. And you know what? We get our heads stuck in the news, and we need to know the news. We need to know what's going on in the world so we can make good business decisions. But, guys, don't get your head so stuck in the news that you're listening to all the talk shows. And you need to listen to a little bit of talk shows, see what's going on out there. But you need to pull your head out, look around, and make your own assessment of what's going on. Because there is the world, but there is your world. There is your world of your business, your world of your family, and your community. And that's something else that I love to tell people. I learned it from Zig years ago. And we talk about the wheel of life, and there's 7 major spokes of the wheel of life. But there was one spoke, Ron, that I pulled out, and I always threw it away. I didn't believe in it. It was that spiritual spoke. And I'm going to tell your audience, I'll tell you people, it doesn't matter what your faith is. Get involved. I don't care if you go to a church, mosque, temple, synagogue. It doesn't matter where you go, but get involved in your faith. Because every decision we make in our business life and personal life is based on what we believe and what we believe that outcome to be. And as you're involved in your faith, start searching for truth. And I believe the more you search for truth, you're going to find the real truth of your faith and your spirituality. And had a guy tell me the other day, well, I just don't believe in spirituality. I'm agnostic. I said, well, you just told me your spirituality. So you're either agnostic, you're atheist, or you have something. But we all know there's a spiritual side to us. We need to get involved in that spiritual side, dig deep into what it is, search for the truth, because that's where all of our decisions are based on. All of our major decisions come from there.
Excellent. We're down to about 3 minutes. Could you maybe give one last tip or your contact information? If you have a PDF or something to give away, that would be a great time.
Sure, I'll tell you what. I'll give you my email address. I'm rebuilding my website. My website is Phillip Hatfield. That's Phillip with 2 L's, Phillip, Hatfield.com. But if you'll send me an email to my name, Phillip@PhillipHatfield.com, I'll send you an ebook. And the ebook will be either Contagious Encouragement, or it could be my book called Be the Transformation, or the very first book I wrote called Carried by Angels. And that particular book, I wrote it under the title of My Greatest Tragedy is My Greatest Blessing. But guys, if you want any one of those, let me know. And Phillip at PhillipHatfield.com. I'm here in Dallas, Texas, but I travel all over the country.
And that's a great point in your closing, too. Just because you're in Texas, in addition to you physically traveling, you could certainly have a customer or a client up here in Boston or anywhere else in the world, given the way the Internet is nowadays, correct?
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of Zoom meetings. I do a lot of coaching, and we do meetings through webinars. And really, it's pretty sometimes it's better for some people to do that because they'll open up more in that type of situation. So I love face-to-face meetings, but I tell you what, technology has changed the way we do meetings, and for some people, it's actually better using technology than it is doing face-to-face because they feel there's a little barrier, but then they can also open up and be a little bit more honest. So technology is your friend.
Excellent. And speaking of technology being your friend and friends, I know a guy who could probably have your website done in under a week. Just
well, we're looking at it. I've got a guy down here working on it. My website I'm working is on my development, dev.philliphatfield.com, and we'll have it launched. But if you want to take a look at that, you can go to dev.philliphatfield.com. But, and there again, the website is very vital to our business.
Absolutely. It's the center. That's where everybody goes to see your business, your products, your services, and all that. But anyhow, Phil,
and let me say one thing. I know I got about 5 seconds, but let me say one thing to your audience. Guys, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people giving a lot of misinformation out there about technology. There's so many different tools. Make sure you have a top-notch technology expert, someone like Ron, someone who can give you great advice on the right things, because there's so many things right now in technology. People are giving information, but it's not the correct information. So make sure you got a professional.
Very true, and thank you for the shout-out. Thank you, everyone. You've been listening to Phillip Hatfield on the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing techniques and methods.